Good blessed Saturday evening, December the 19th, 2020. 2020 time to change. Time for the vision. It's about 4:25 p.m. I greet all human beings all around the world with the universal greetings of peace and the blessings of God be with you. It's a few things that I want to talk to y'all about. But I want y'all to watch this here and tell me what sense do this make for a person to do. Okay, I'm on the corner at a stop sign on Lee Street, straight ahead, and this is Vine where I live at. Let me show you what a car did yesterday. Somebody I don't know at all. With all this killing blacks. Now, their vehicle was just like mine. If you notice, I'm going west on Vine Street. I'm all the way to the right side of the street. Let me show you what they did yesterday. I'm going to let this car go past me right quick. But they kept going now. Now, this is what they did yesterday. Over here, then turn this way, then turn right here. Stop for about a minute. Parking right in front of my house. Sat here for about a minute. And then left and turned right at the stop sign. Now, do that make any sense? Especially when you don't know anybody, know this particular person? I didn't see no logic in it. When you got, if you had to stop, you got right across the street a police substation that been closed down probably for the past 20 or so years. Right up the block right here, you have a whole bunch of empty space. You have all these other houses down here, but they chose this. Now, some people may say, well, he's paranoid. No, I'm not paranoid. I live here. I done had several neighbors that lived here making threats to me. I done had people come up making threats. And then people pull up in cars that you don't know. It's been robbing, carjacking, shooting and killing people. I seen the problem with that. That's why I put it on my social internet, especially on my YouTube, Raymond, R-A-Y-M-O-N-D, Ivy, I-V-Y. Now, I want to tell you something else now. Now, tell me this here. Now, anybody that know me, y'all know I'm a highly critic of the Charleston, Missouri, Mississippi County NAACP. I'm probably one of the most highly critics of the Charleston, Missouri Police Department, the Charleston, Missouri, Mississippi County 33rd Circuit Court, with the judges, prosecuting attorneys, with the exception maybe one judge. A highly critic of the Mississippi County Sheriff Department here in Charleston, Missouri, Mississippi County, with the exception of maybe one or two sheriff deputies. Now, just the other day, I was at the post office. I didn't know that the NAACP here in Charleston, Missouri, Mississippi County has changed presidents again. I knew the president that was the president from October of 2018 to I don't know when he changed and gave the president seat to his vice president. But his vice president approached me at the post office yesterday and spoke to me. I spoke to him, shook my hand. And he asked me that he was soliciting my support for him being the president of the NAACP here in Charleston, Missouri. Now, he's soliciting me now, somebody that been criticizing him, the former president before that, and their members, because I don't see nothing that the NAACP has done down here in Charleston, Missouri for black people, period. Now, it's supposed to stand for the National Association for the Advancement of Colored People. But in Charleston, Missouri, it's the National Association for the Advancement of Some or Certain Particular Colored People. It ain't the west side of Charleston, Missouri. I can tell you that now. But this is what I told him. I told him, I don't see nothing that the NAACP has done here in Charleston, Missouri for black people. They don't stand up against the prejudice that's going on in the police station. You got one black sergeant on the Charleston, Missouri Police Department. That's something that a NAACP any place would have an issue with. You don't have no black sheriff deputies. They have an issue with that. Especially when we living in a town of 5,947 people and 51%, maybe more than that now, because since the 2010 census, we blacks was 51% in this town and whites were 46%. But my point is, I told him when I see something that the NAACP is doing for the advancement of all colored people, not just some, not just them and their families, because when they have Martin Luther King Day breakfasts, the NAACP, they honor the sheriff here who ain't did nothing for us, black people, non-sellout black people. They honor the chief of police who haven't did nothing for the non-sellout black people. They honor the people, the individual that runs the housing authority. The housing authority is tied up with all of them. They honor the people that runs all white ran organization called Susanna Wesley Family Learning Center, which is headquartered here in the black neighborhood on the west side of Charleston, Missouri. That's where their program is at, but they don't do nothing for the black community. All right, now, this is who they honor. You see, but why would one of them, and let me say something else before I forget. A preacher, one of the preachers that's tied with them, with the good old boy system. When I say the good old boy system, we talking about white supremacists and sellout blacks. You see what I'm saying? All these organizations down here that's getting this grant money, all of them is a part of the good old boy system. But let me tell you what this black preacher said about me maybe 2 or 3 years ago. He got on Facebook and said that I have my 2 young daughters. He said, I have their mind in prison. Anybody know my 2 young daughters down here that's 14 and 15? Their minds is not in prison. They just not sellout blacks. They don't go around disrespecting people when they disrespect me. They stand their ground to protect themselves, but they don't go around here kissing people's behind because they white. They don't go around here kissing people behind because they getting government grant money. You see what I'm saying? Got all the jobs and giving it to their families and friends. That don't make my daughter's minds in prison because I took them out of the Charleston R1 school district. You see what I'm saying? I took them out of there because they allowed a white bus driver to do something to my then 5-year-old daughter. So I took them out. The NAACP didn't stand up. This particular preacher that said that I had my daughters and them minds in prison, he didn't stand up. But let me tell you what this Negro had the audacity to ask me about a week ago at the post office. See, they look around, make sure ain't no white folks around, and then they'll speak to me. If you can't come to my house or speak to me in public, you are enemy to the cause. I get a Ku Klux Klan more credit than I do y'all. At least the Klan speak to me, and they don't even like me. You see what I'm saying? How you doing, Mr. Ivy? Have a good day, Mr. Ivy. And I know they don't want me to have a good day, but at least they do speak to me. But these Negroes, that's what they is. Malcolm X called them house Negroes. But this Negro had nerve to call himself a preacher. He ain't no preacher to me. Call himself a preacher. This Negro had the audacity to tell me and another elder man that was standing at the post office. He said, I'm looking for a few good preachers or good men to go into the jails and into the courts with me because I'm the head of the ministry and for the sheriff department here in Mississippi County, the police department, and some of the courts. Now, what would you want me, a person that you said that I got my daughters and them minds in prison? The same with the NAACP. What would y'all want me for when y'all was on this same corner? The same corner right across the street from my house. Chief of police, sergeant, some other polices, NAACP presidents, these people that's running these government grant funds. Y'all was on this same corner with two individuals that y'all claim that God called to do a unity march, and y'all laying here marching with them. But right on this corner here, 2 months before that, right across the street from my house, these same individuals was out here trying to intimidate me, disturbing my peace. But you see, these black folks, sellout blacks and white supremacists, they have the judges too. The judge didn't find them guilty of nothing. You see what I'm saying? Hey, how you doing? All right. The judge didn't find nothing wrong with what they did. But see, I was on this same corner. On April the 9th, 2016, when the past NAACP president was on this same corner telling little children in my neighborhood, he don't live over here, he live in a white neighborhood. You see what I'm saying? He was telling the little children that I raped children. He was telling them a lie. So my neighbors and them came and told me, so I went down there and videoed them. Do you know they put an outstanding warrant for me? An outstanding warrant now, just for video showing what this man was doing, defiling my character. And I made a YouTube video. It's almost 10,000 people done watched it. But let me tell you what they did. They not only put an outstanding warrant for me, when I went to go press charges on one of my neighbors, I had him on camera threatening me, but they wouldn't let me file charges. They arrested me, and guess what they did? The NAACP, black folks, and white folks had something to do with it. My 2 young daughters, they was maybe 11 and 12 years old, and my daddy was in the house. While they had me locked up down there, let me show you how these snakes, same ones want me to support them, want me to go into the jails with them. You see what I'm saying? You could tell a dog, because he have his head down when he know he undid wrong. But a snake will look you right in the eyes. But let me tell you this here. They show you how they plotted against me and show you how God planned. Some of y'all know, Bishop, you looking. Bishop Jermaine, you looking. You know, you remember when they did it. They laid here and arrested me. They thought I didn't have no family and friends because they don't see people around me, just like the people that threatening me. If they knew better, they wouldn't be threatening me. They'll go up in the courtroom and threaten them up in there. They'll go in a bank and tell them they got a bomb and finna blow it up before they want to really do something to me. Not saying I'm tough, but my family, my friends, we's a force not to be reckoned with. But let me tell you what they plotted to do, y'all. I want y'all to listen to this here. But yet they want me to support them. While I was locked up in there, I wasn't in there 10 minutes. And here I get a phone call inside of the jail in the lockup. Ain't that something? And guess who it was? It was DCF. DCF said, I said, who is this? Well, this is DCF. We heard you locked up. I ain't been in there 5 minutes. We heard you locked up. Who watching your daughters? I said, that ain't none of your business. Do you make them calls to the jail to anybody to get locked up? Another few minutes, here's coming the same police that put these fraudulent charges on me. Came in there with the Department of Agent, and he had the audacity to ask me. He was Charleston Police Department in the Sheriff Department. He asked me, where's your dad? I told him ain't none of his business. I said, you ain't got nothing to talk to me about, man. And the particular lady from the Department of Agent, she knew me because somebody called when I brought my daddy down here in October 2014. He wasn't down here a week, and somebody called and said, I kidnapped him from Chicago and I was abusing him. This same lady remember this, but God sent one Charleston, Missouri police officer, which I have much respect for him. He was in the military too, like my daddy. He came. I wasn't going to let him in because I didn't have to, because the government gave me authority over my daddy. The government supersede the state and the local. You see what I'm saying, officials? I told the lady to go get a court order. She got to crying. But you know what I did? I told the police officer, I said, you can go in there and see if my daddy all right. And then I told the lady, you can go too. That gave that lady a sense to see somebody didn't like me down here in high places. And they was trying to take my kids and my daughters. See, sometimes when you take people, kids and daughters, when they love them like I do, some people go on killing sprees. They don't care if you got a badge or not. They don't care if you got a black robe or not. Why do y'all think a whole bunch of this killing is going on now? Especially some of you Negroes that study around here trying to rob people, pulling up on people's houses like you did mine, walking up in my driveway with your hood on and mask on, moving next door and making all these threats. I ain't gonna do nothing. God been moving you out of the way. But let me tell y'all, they thought that they was going to get my daughters, my 11 and 12-year-old daughters, outsmarted them. They knocked and rang on the bell. They had my house surrounded while I was down in the jail, waiting to get bonded out. My 12-year-old daughter, Queen, we didn't name her Queen for nothing. She called my neighbor, called my sister in Charleston, and told them what was going on. Soon the police left. My sister and them came over here and got my daughters and my dad and took them to Charleston. They outsmarted these snakes. Do you think I support the NAACP? I don't care if Donald Trump became the NAACP down here in Charleston, Missouri. Charleston, Missouri, NAACP, all of these other black groups down here, and white groups, these churches, if they associated with Susanna Wesley or any of these other people, these people are thieves and robbers. Why you think people study trying to attack me? They don't want to see me. They don't want to see the old me come up out the grave. Because if it did, ain't nothing the Charleston, Missouri Police Department, Sheriff Department, not even the state police. They gonna need the United States Army to stop me. You better ask somebody. I ain't even mad, y'all. I'm just exposing these black sellouts. They want me to be a part of the team. I don't want to be a part of your team. What was you at when that white bus driver did what he did to my daughter? You wasn't nowhere around. Where was you when all these people started getting me locked up? What was y'all at? What was you having all these people threatening me? Nowhere around. God is dealing with y'all. That's why you want me. You're going to have to answer to the IRS because I'm going to keep on giving them information about the money that y'all stealing. Peace be still.